Hello and welcome back to a bittersweet episode of Peace Talks and Peace Pop. I am one of your hosts, John Sullivan.
Caitlin Richards.
Alex Garrison.
Andre Tidwell.
Christopher Campbell.
Mary Hannah. Destiny Harrington.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I think that
Okay.
We got
All
a
right, I was
party.
just making sure. It's hard to keep track. We got a lot of people on. There we go. Soundboard man Andre pushing buttons once again. It's good to have him back in the stew. How's everybody's week going? How's finals treating you? Getting ready for them and whatnot?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready to conquer. Far so good.
That was
Some
very
of the
hard to
finals
understand.
for me. Some of the finals for me, and it's probably because it's early in the time to take a final. It was just writing an evaluation of how well I did. But I think the big tests that are coming next week are going to be different, obviously.
Yeah, I took my only final last night. Everything else is just papers, and
Exactly.
I think I did pretty well on it thanks to Alex. She tutored me up as I was getting ready for it because it was my ethics final, and as we know, Alex is our resident ethical person.
Shout out.
Indeed, she does ethics bowl and whatnot.
Oh wow.
Good.
Yeah. So, I guess let's jump right into it. What has everyone done apart from studying for finals to keep busy? Alex, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Okay, well, besides tutoring people to help them with ethics, I did that quite a lot yesterday, multiple people. I have done a lot of, obviously, binge watching stuff on TV and Netflix and movies. But also I've been trying to do some like craft and painting,
Oh,
and some writing, and then also just a lot of family time. Trying to get as much family time in as possible.
will you
Don't really
paint
have
me
a
if I
choice.
send you a picture?
Family time. I'm not that good of a painter. I can paint words.
I think, weren't we in the same drawing 101 class?
I never took drawing, so no.
Oh, I thought, for some reason, I thought we were. I don't know.
I just, it's. I mean, I can send pics of what I've painted, but boy, it's a little. I've also made like picture collages. I've been into kind of doing that, like cutting those pictures out, like So kind of just trying to keep myself as busy as possible.
Well, that's good. That's good. Caitlin, you wearing a mask when you go to Target? Because I know you can't stay away.
John, you caught me. I've been going every now and then for essential things. Like I grocery shop with my grandparents as well.
The clearance section is
But,
not essential.
Shut up. No, I've not been wearing a mask. Like usually when I go, there's absolutely nobody in there, and
Fair enough.
I don't know. I mean, whatever. I'm saving the mask for health workers. That's my little. I like it in there.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Interesting way to put it.
So.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. So yeah, I've been binge watching as well. Figuring out my favorite shows on Netflix. Trying to live that healthier lifestyle by working out more now that I have time.
I seen you walking.
Spending it with the family. Huh?
I seen you walking, and people that it's not creepy.
Oh, yeah.
She lives across the street from me. It's not like I'm just popping up outside of her house. Yeah, go walk. Good job. But no, I've been doing the same. My fiance's aunt, I think, aunt. She made us masks. Like she knit them, or not knit them. That would be a very ineffective mask. No, she stitched them, and she actually did a really good job. Like the 3M fabric inside, is really solid stuff. It's the stuff that goes like inside of the real masks, and she just made like a cloth outside for it and put the stuff inside. So it's pretty helpful for when I do go out, because with my mom's illness and everything, I got to make sure I stay very clean. So I wear gloves and a mask, but otherwise I haven't changed my routine up too much. I still do nothing.
I put my hair up and wear my sunglasses too.
Nice.
So, wow. Yeah, so it like covers your face a little bit too.
You should
mask
just
and the
tie your hair in front of your mouth. That seems like a good idea to me.
That is a good idea.
Oh, guys, hold on. I gotta accept Chris's call. I think we dropped him on accident.
Oh no.
Yeah, hold on. I feel now is as good a time as any to mention that Andre is actually wearing a green shirt underneath of his black jacket today. So it feels all is right with the world. All is right with the world today. He's flexing on me like the Hulk over there, just across the table from me. He's gonna rip out of that shirt any minute. Just start throwing haymakers.
Relax. No. I'm not
No,
gonna do that.
no, he's not.
Unless
No,
I have to.
I mean, somebody could bust in at any moment, and then both of us would have to start throwing haymakers. I don't know. We'll see. Mary, what about you? What you been up to, huh?
I have been I've been cooking.
Ooh, what?
You know,
What's
meals for
the
my
best
family.
meal you cooked so far?
Okay, well,
Last week it was Hamburger Helper.
this is not the best meal, but it was really good. I made like chicken wings, like baked in the oven last night, and
That
I
sounds
made
good.
down for
tater.
chicken wings.
I made tater tots to go with them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was really good. I know it's not healthy, but like
In the words of Napoleon Dynamite, don't touch my tots.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Classic.
Vote for
I think-
Pedro.
Me too, your tots. Yeah, I love that movie.
Everybody vote for Pedro.
Yeah, vote for Pedro. No, but I've been reading books that I enjoy, like reading poetry, and I ride my bike sometimes. Yeah, but it's pretty chill. Other than studying for finals, that's been like the majority of what I've been doing.
I really wish I had a bike right now because Logan and I would love to be going for bike rides. Last night, it was almost mocking me. While I was doing my final, a couple who was like our age, like about our age, rode by my open window while I was taking my final, just like laughing together. And I sat there and watched them, and I was like, damn it. If I had $500 extra right about now, I'd be on a bike.
There are so many bikers on our street, though. Oh my gosh.
I know there really is. Well, it's because the trail is right there, but that part that like washed away in the rain, they still haven't finished yet. They've been working on a section of trail that is maybe 40 yards long for what would you say,
over
Caitlin?
a year.
Like, over a year. Because when we moved into that place, the trail was whole-ish. I mean, in that area there was some collapsed area, but like they finally started working on it about 3 months after we moved in. So yeah, it's been about a year almost. It's about 2 months away from a year, and they still are not done with 40 yards of trail. Like I don't understand how China can build a road in a day. Like a 30-mile long road in a day. Same with the UK, and we're over here
There's
just
more
like
of them.
yeah, we're over here like, well, this trail is really complex. It's a walking trail.
I don't know if we need to be comparing our work ethics though with China because they don't like to let them have a break. So
Yeah, I think we'll
Yeah,
give
that's
China a
true.
break. I'll say no, not Mongolia. They don't have roads.
Japan? I don't know.
Yeah, Japan. We'll go with Japan, Chris.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right, Japan. How can we not build on the scale of the Japanese? What is this, huh? We are a much bigger place. All right, Chris, since you have spoken, what have you been up to, buddy?
Yeah, I haven't spoken much. Yeah, I've been just working out, like probably 1/3 of that, 1/3 of it just working on things that fit my portfolio, like maps and digital media. And the other thing is I'm taking it loose too. Like I'm just playing games here and there, watching Schitt's Creek here and there, and it's just I'm having a good time, even though I was in quarantine for like 2 weeks. But I didn't even mention that like in this podcast, which I'm sorry to surprise you guys. But I'm out, so
Well, good.
hey,
Good for you. You made it through. Push on through. That's what we all got to do during these times.
yeah.
Destiny, what you been up to?
I've learned that since being in quarantine that I am a night snacker. I've been up in the room till like 3 o'clock in the morning.
I
Eating,
obliterated
like,
some
my dad
Doritos
was
last
like-
night.
Yeah, no, but no, I'm eating like full meals.
Oh no, that's not good.
Like, yeah, like my dad, he's like, "You eat it again?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "It's 3 o'clock in the morning." I was like, "I know."
You should just be like,
I'm in my
and
room watching Netflix.
and what, Dad?
It's crazy.
And what?
Exactly.
It's 3 a.m., huh?
Like, I know. Then he came in my room. He's like, "You left the kitchen light on." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going back in there." Like, it's crazy.
I gotta get dessert, Dad. What do you think?
I know, and I feel so bad because I mean, on top of that, I am still working out, so which is the good part about it, you know. So
yeah.
But other than that, nothing much. I go for walks around my neighborhood. I feel like this time I should really get a dog because it's the best time to have a dog.
Oh, it totally
Absolutely.
is. But every single shelter is out of dogs. Like they've all just been adopted. Almost every animal. My sister got a chameleon the other day.
People have been bored. Oh wow.
Is that true?
It is.
That's actually a convenience for the dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty nice. Like my mom used to foster for this place called Peak Lab Rescue. It's in Raleigh area, and they literally cannot get the dogs out of there fast enough. It's insane. Like all of the adoptable dogs got adopted right away when this started, and then every single foster order that's come in so far is filled within like 20 minutes. They'll get a litter of 10 puppies, and 20 minutes later, all 10 have a foster home until their adoption. It's great. It's really good for the dogs.
Positives of Corona.
What?
That's so sweet. I said positives of Corona.
Yes, that's one
so
positive
sweet.
of Corona. The shelters are empty for the first time in forever.
No, I could be wrong, but the coronavirus does at least atypically transfer from dogs, I think. I could look that up for you guys, but just tread carefully if you're adopting a dog that someone else may have with corona. They have petted that dog. But that's my only worry right now. I may be overly paranoid. But
they can't transfer it other than
like,
through touch. Like if somebody touches or sneezes on the dog, yes, but the dog itself cannot get sick from the corona and transfer it. That's one thing that they proved pretty quickly.
Yeah, you're kind of right about that.
I heard they tested 2 cats and they came back positive for it.
Yeah, but that was in New York City too.
My cat Tommy was snoring last night, but I think that's just because he's fat. I'm pretty sure that's just because he's a chubby boy. All right, now on to our favorite section of the podcast. Andre, what did you do this week? Let's see if it's different from all the other times I've asked him this question. My money is on that he was just grinding. My money is on grinding and working hard. What'd you do?
Pretty much is wrap up finals, work on some new media stuff, videos, and just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do after the finals are over. So
grinding, working hard. There we go. I was on it. I was on it. I would have won some money if this was Jeopardy. I would have won some money if this was Jeopardy. But all right, so we're all staying together as much as we can. You know, keeping in contact, working through this. Alex and other seniors, I was technically not part of the 2020 graduation class because I had 2 classes to do this summer, so I was above the 4 credits limit that allows you to walk in spring. So what's going on with commencement?
Nothing at this point.
I thought they sent out an email.
So they sent out a bunch of emails yesterday, I think.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
About just saying that they still haven't made a decision on commencement. It's still postponed just because, like, how with everything else is they can't say when everything's going to be okay for a big group of people to get together. So I know that they definitely are pushing for us to have, like, an in-person one because obviously we go to a small school and, like, that's a big part of what our school does. It has a lot of tradition in it.
Oh, totally.
So I know for right now they're holding off on making a decision. But we got souls. We did get souls, which is exciting.
We all get souls, and like that's so exciting because that was like such a back and forth thing whether or not the souls were going to be here in time for graduation. So all the seniors are now getting souls with their caps and gowns.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
And they are mailing caps and gowns to us, which is really good because I was nervous about like, I still want to take senior pictures, and I can't around in my cap and gown.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Right?
I was gonna be like the guy for cap and gowns. Like I'll take a cool 5% off the top, and then I'll mail it to you.
Hey, but yeah, so that's good. They're mailing those to us. I'm trying to think what else.
They're having like a virtual celebration thing for the seniors too. So like President Ralphie sent out the email for seniors to register. So that'll be nice.
Big John told me they
That's
had
good.
a last day of class like Instagram live,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he said he kept going down there and dancing in front of Belk, and I was like, man, I wonder if anybody knew who it was. He was like, man, they know me. I was like, John, I'm kidding. I know they know you. I was like, you're the most recognizable figure on this campus, maybe. I was like, everybody knew who it was. I was totally kidding. And he was like, oh, okay. He was on one of our podcast episodes recently. Hey, Big John, if you're listening. He found us on Spotify, so he probably will be.
Oh, God.
John, I love how during President Ralph's live on Instagram thing, you literally commented, "I'm in the art room."
Yeah, I did. And then like 20 minutes later, I went down into the parking lot and he was just walking by. I was like, hey, Dr. Ralph. And he turned it towards me. And then I was like, hey, everyone, listen to the podcast.
Which is funny. Which is funny because right before the live, like I literally left the podcast because I was like, John, I want to go watch the live with him answering all the questions. And you're like, hey, I'm gonna go say hi to him. And then
I did.
you shout out.
I really did go say hi to him. I was like, I'm just going to roll up on him and be like, hey, I have the hard hitting questions here live in person. How was your day?
How was your day?
Yeah, that
I
kind
will
of thing.
say, and I'm sure the rest of the seniors can attest to this, is I feel like I really appreciate all of the all of the comments Dr. Ralph has made, all the videos he's posted, trying to make us seniors still feel like we need to celebrate graduation, because I feel like a lot of us are kind of feeling like, oh, we're in quarantine, we don't get to celebrate. And I feel like his transparency through all of it and whatnot has really helped, at least me.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that, because, I mean, we would be doing all of that on campus. So I appreciate that you're doing it online.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right.
Well, we're at a brief lull in the conversation. Anne just tried to join, so let me call her.
What's up, everybody?
Anne is live and in the building. We're starting to get worried about you,
Hi,
Anne.
Ann, what's up?
We're going to send out a search party.
I went missing for a few. I was doing some homework.
Boo.
We love that.
I know, finals week, you gotta get to it.
Yeah.
All right, Anne, everyone else has answered this. What you been up to?
For the past few days, I've been doing nothing but homework. Other than that, so they recently opened the beaches here,
Oh, yeah.
and so I've been surfing a little bit. But don't worry, I'm still social distancing, because when you're in the water, you're 6 feet apart from everyone else.
Fair. Except for the sharks.
So
They're close
where
to
are
you?
Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Oh, cool.
Lucky to live
can't-
near the beach.
Can't necessarily complain, and the weather here has been so nice. So I've been getting tan. That's what I've been doing.
I've heard there's tornadoes in Georgia, like at
There's
least
been-
a couple days now.
Yeah, so the weather here is either super sunny and 90 degrees, or tornadoes and thunderstorms. There's no in between.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's been pretty nice around Raleigh these past couple days.
It's very pretty. It's miraculous, actually. I don't think we had a spring like this. Obviously, because of coronavirus, I can't say any more on that.
Oh, how does everyone feel about this being the last pod?
Oh, this is so sad.
Yeah. I'm a little sad because obviously me and Caitlin built this podcast, and it's now our last time on it.
Oh, I remember. Remember when we pitched the idea to Marty and Chrisman, and then we literally the first couple podcasts. Well, actually, it was a lot of podcasts. It was only me and you, and we would sit in Marty's office and eat that olive oil popcorn she had, and moon pies, and it was what I would say was lit up blue, what you would say was lit up red. It was so like
Yeah, and we were literally just reading off the campus events and news.
I know.
That's all we would do.
Look
That's
at how
all
far we've come.
And y'all used to
And
use
look
that
at-
one
look at us
microphone,
now.
right? Y'all used to use that one blue microphone that broke.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we
Oh, I
only needed
remember
one
that.
because it was just us two.
Yeah.
And even then, like, because now how the podcast works, obviously, is like it's more of a conversation. Then it was literally us reading off of a script.
yeah,
yeah.
I remember you
like,
guys.
welcome back.
We
Yeah.
took a lot of takes. We had so many different takes.
And now we
Because
just
we were
kind of
reading.
roll with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we got people joining mid podcast. You know, it's whatever. It's just
Out here
fun time.
slacking,
It's just a
but
good
higher
time.
quality.
Yeah, I gotta
Definitely
say,
grown.
it's a good time. It's
Definitely
my
grown
favorite
a
hour
lot
of the
more
week.
than I. Woo! It's definitely grown the podcast a lot more than I thought it would. I'll be honest. Because obviously when we started it was tiny and it was you and me, Caitlin. And then I don't know. I feel like it slowly grew the next semester and the next year, but like I feel like now, and now that we have people who are willing to continue it on,
Mm-hmm.
because that was my biggest fear, is that people weren't going to want to continue it on after we left.
Don't
I
worry.
will say
Me and
Yeah, I
Mary
will
got
say
you.
Yeah.
special shout out to Kristen and Marty for providing podcast tools and letting us kind of like do our own thing and be free with this.
Totally.
And honestly, encouraging us to do it, because if we wouldn't have had them, it would have been real difficult.
And
Yeah,
this
you know,
road, this
like half the
roadcaster.
battle to get it started is starting it, and then it kind of takes off, and kind of like a business,
And they spared
sort of.
no expense as far as the equipment goes. You know,
very
they,
much so.
They really worked hard for us to
Yeah.
make sure that we were set up. And I loved it when I first joined the podcast. I didn't go through any of the beginning stuff. You know, I just got to jump on when it was like really unformatted and crazy, which is how I thrive.
Alex, remember when it was me, you, Marvin Bruinton, and Will Dalton, and we
Yes.
would sit on the floor of the green room?
So we had one part, I think it was a whole semester or most of the semester, where we literally sat in the comm lab back where they have all the cameras on the floor, laying on the floor recording, because that was the only place that we felt was like comfortable to record and where we could fit everyone.
And it was like near Halloween, and Marty would bring us Halloween candy to eat while we did it.
Yeah. And then Crispin would peek in, making sure we were good.
It
Crispin
took,
only
like,
checks on me and Andre to make
hours.
sure we're 6 feet apart. This is not fair.
It took hours for us to record because we wouldn't actually record. We would just sit there and talk.
We would just sit there and have fun, and then we would start recording, and then we would get distracted. And then even after that, once Marvin was no longer in it, and when Andre started doing started joining and doing more with the podcast, and Andre, you can attest to this. Andre, I feel like you have the most patience out of anyone I know, because there were some days where we were doing the podcast for like 3.5 hours because we could not focus to do the podcast. We were just joking around the whole time. So probably
He would just wait.
to deal with us.
And there were times where
I
like
shout out to Andre.
there were times where like Andre and I would just sit in this art room and stare at each other for like 45 minutes and be like, "All right, is anybody else coming?" and then everyone would just walk in all at once. We'd be like, "All right, okay, there's the confirmation.
party
They
time,
are
yeah.
here. Yes, okay."
I will say
Yeah.
I definitely will be back for an episode or two next semester.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
Totally.
me too. I definitely, whether it's calling in or coming to visit, I definitely want to still be involved in it.
An alumni
featured episode.
We'll get
Yeah,
to call
that was
ourselves alumnus.
Good.
Yeah. I'll get to tell Anne that she doesn't know anything about the working world.
Thanks.
You
Oh,
kids
that's very,
these days, you've got it so
complimenting.
good.
I'll be sure to call you in for your daily history fact, which, have you done that already today?
Oh no, Anne, I have not. I've got it pulled up right in front of me, but I was just waiting for a boring time, you know, because that's what history is to you people. No, but I guess I'll go now. So for the past 14 days, or not 14 days, like 12 days. One of my favorite Twitter accounts has been recounting the Battle for Berlin during World War II, when the Russians finally encircled the German capital. And so today, in 1945, the Russian and American spearheads met at the river Torga in Germany. They met at the town Torga on the Elbe River in Germany. So that completed the American drive east, and the U.S. and British and Canadian drive east, and the Soviet drive west. And they met and had fully encircled the Germans in Berlin, and it is only a matter of time until they tweet about Hitler's final moments. So I really do love history. Most of my timeline is memes and history. And sometimes it's history memes, which I love even more. But
Nerd.
I know I am a nerd, but I can't help it, man. Like, history is just so fascinating to me. It's
tell stories.
Well, yeah, I mean, on the first day,
one of the big things.
On the first, the Germans so the Germans were defending from the Soviets, and the battle for Berlin was mostly fought by older German men who were too old to fight at the beginning of the war, but were brought into the reserves by the end because they just absolutely had no one left. And then it was fought by boys, like 13, 14-year-old boys who were members of the Volkssturm, which was the People's Guard. And I mean, these guys were not trained. They weren't ready for war. They just were thrown out in the front lines against the Soviet machine of death. And but they fought. I mean,
machine of death.
No, literally. I mean, that's what it was. The Soviets had.
The Soviets outnumbered the Nazis to 10-1. It was a ridiculous number.
Yeah, and the battle for Silo Heights was a 3-day-long battle in which the Germans defended against the Russians from atop the heights at Silo, obviously, and it cost 33,000 Russian dead and 15,000 German dead, and that was in 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just a ridiculously bloody fight, and it was building by building. And I mean, you can see Berlin from the air. It's huge. It's a large city, and it was literally building by building, because they were just walking into one building, fighting the Germans on the first floor, the second floor, the third floor, the fourth floor, the fifth floor, the sixth floor, and then they moved to the next building. It was unbelievable how bloody and detailed and gruesome the fighting was. But it's just a fascinating moment in history, and the whole entire war is filled with them. But the Battle for Berlin is one of the it was the end of the war, and it fully ended Germany's rule in Europe. But it was just so interesting and so statistically mind-blowing. It was almost like a First World War battle because of the numbers of casualties.
The First World War has millions die on the first couple of was it days or weeks?
The Battle of the Somme, the British lost 60,000 men on the first day.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and that was one battle, one time. Verdun, they lost 1.5 million men. Yeah. Same with the Germans, same with the French. It was unbelievable, the numbers of dead from the First World War, but this was First World War numbers for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I think the First World War had less casualties if you don't count the civilians, but it definitely had a really big acceleration of death rates, every battle.
Well, yeah, because it was the first modern war, including weapons like aircraft, tanks, machine guns, rifles that could fire more than 3 shots.
World War II has an extermination kind of factor into it, so it's obviously more casualties if you count the civilians that were in the crossfire or affected by the war.
Yeah, but not to get too historical on our fun, easy podcast.
I'm very sorry.
No. It was me. I talked about it the most. But not to get too historical on our fun and easy podcast. Let's get back to.
That's all right. We always enjoy a little bit of education.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So What else does anybody want to talk about? What else is interesting going on right now?
So I got a question.
Oh, Andre's got something, people. Shh.
Go for it.
Shh. Everybody, shh. Andre's talking. All right, go ahead, Andre.
So, how many people do you think is still gonna try to celebrate Mother's Day this year?
Good question. We are opening our state
That is a good
technically
question.
on May 15th. North Carolina
Oh, yeah.
reopens, which is the day after Mother's
Yep,
Day.
'cause we
I'm
Wait,
not
did you say
sure.
how many people? Did you say if people are going to celebrate?
Yeah, he wants to know how many people
was the
do we
question?
think are still going to try to celebrate Mother's Day. My
Oh,
guess
well,
is
I'm
7.
gonna try as best as I can.
My guess is
Yeah,
7
that's-
people.
I think
7
people will try to celebrate as much as possible, like they did Easter. I feel like people still celebrated Easter a lot at home.
They just
Yeah.
have their
Yeah.
own home each
I
day.
think Mother's Day, like the best thing I would do on Mother's Day is like make my mother breakfast and put an effort to really write a nice card to her or something. Appreciation. So
I don't know what I'm going to do for
I
Mother's
don't
Day
know if
this
you
year.
party on Mother's Day. Like,
That
Do
was
you
always
think
the first day that our pool opened in our neighborhood, and so that was like a huge deal because all the kids and all the parents and all the moms would go to the pool in our neighborhood, and it's a big pool, and like there was grills and stuff that you could use. It was awesome, and
Just a
that will
squad of
not,
moms.
Ooh.
yeah, that will not be a thing anymore this year. But
Do you think that do you think it'll get extended, like the date that they're going to reopen North Carolina?
they just did.
think so.
Governor Cooper extended it yesterday.
Or like, do you think it, like you said, May 15th, right?
Yeah, he extended it to May 15th. I think
Instead
it was
of
like
May 8th.
I think it was like yeah, that's what it was. I think it was May 8th.
Do you think
and
it'll be extended again?
I feel like it'll be extended for like certain, like I think businesses could like ease into it, but I think like the general public, it will be extended.
Yeah, well, they
yeah.
they made like a
Yeah.
plan, and whatever phase we're in, like we start phase 1 on May 15th, right? And so like
Yeah.
it just depends on how if everything is still like there hasn't been a lot of cases in 14 days. Like it really just depends on the numbers as to how
Exactly.
everything's going to open back up. Like they can't make any predictions until they look at what it actually is by May 15th. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, the fear is that we just don't want a number of deaths that accelerates the same when we were to open up the economy again. You know, so there's a real fear about that. Like if you come back in the fall, the coronavirus, it's like, well, where is the good middle line for the economy to at least kind of support people as well as keeping people safe from the virus? And that's a really tough choice for anyone to make.
Yeah, and most
But
of the
you
states that
can't put
are.
it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were going again.
No, it's pretty much done. I just said you can't put a date on it through statistics of like how to control the economy and sustain the population because there's things we can't control. You know,
Yeah,
people die.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is most of the states that are petitioning to reopen immediately don't have an effective way of tracking people who have come into contact with the virus. So that's the biggest issue right now facing the reopen campaign is the fact that a majority of those states don't know who has it and who's been in contact with it. And that's just begging for a resurgence of it as soon as you reopen. And I mean, I've heard like 3 different weeks are supposed to be peak week, and it's like I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know what's going on. I just know that I will continue to do my part by doing nothing.
I hate to say this, but doing nothing is sometimes the best thing to do.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Although
it's
doing
literally
something
what we
is
were
kind
told
of-
to do. So I will continue to do that for as long as I am ordered.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I don't know. I really would like to like go back to work and stuff, like because I worked at a bar on Glenwood Avenue before everything closed down. But like I know that it's going to be so different coming back. Like there's going to be so many new standards for bars and restaurants, and like it doesn't freak me out, but I know that it's going to be a really big like
Bummer.
So
Y'all want to know
one,
something
like,
funny? I made my decision based on a tweet the other night as to what I was going to eat for dinner, and the tweet said Chipotle has to pay $25 million in fees because their food was making people sick again, and I was like, damn, I ain't eating Chipotle in a while. I'm going to Chipotle. And like that, it was arguably the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Because I was just thinking about Chipotle the other day.
Oh, it's so good. I got to confirm, I am feeling good. My tum-tum is okay. So I'm alive and kicking.
I had cookout for the first time like 3 days ago, and I hadn't had cookout in like a month. And man, that's different. Like, it was so good.
Oh yeah.
Snack right now.
Eating food that somebody else made for you is a luxury that we will never take for granted as a generation anymore.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah. I did take for that granted, didn't I?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely did. I took that for granted, like rolling into a restaurant and just being able to sit down and order whatever I wanted.
And you know what I really don't like is like customers that go into a restaurant and they feel entitled. Like, I don't know if you guys do that. I don't really mind. But like, if they're over entitled, like, hey, I paid for this food and I think I should get a free dessert because you spilled one of my drinks, like, which is fine. I actually think that's reasonable, but it's just like, you came to their restaurant and they're going to serve you. I don't know.
Well, I think it gives like a new appreciation for like service workers in general. Like, just being able to go to a bar, being able to go to a restaurant, like, people are never gonna
Take advantage of
that ever again. And like, I'm excited for everything to open back up because I think people are gonna be a lot more appreciative of like us that have to like, work until 2:00 in the morning to keep the restaurant or the bar open. Like, and
absolutely.
I think, it'll be different, but it'll be nice.
Yeah, there needs to be like
a
PSA saying "Go easy on our restaurants" or something. I don't know, but
yeah,
that
would be nice.
My favorite video that's come out of all of this, I'm sure y'all have seen it on Twitter, is that that blonde lady hanging out of the side of the silver pickup truck screaming at the nurse.
Oh yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's just like she's screaming at him, "You can go to work, why can't I?" Well, woman, you didn't go to nurse school or medical school. Nurse school. You didn't get schooled on being a nurse. Yeah. No, it's just it's buffoonery, and they all want their haircuts and they want their sweet tea refills. That's my favorite argument that's been made coming from your state, Alex, the reopened Tennessee man, who's leading the charge up there. His biggest reason for getting America reopened is he hates having to buy 2 sweet teas in the drive-thru because he doesn't get free refills anymore in the restaurant.
Oh my God.
And that is why he is fighting to reopen Tennessee.
That kind of doesn't make sense to me. Why is he not getting? Oh, because the economy is so poor, they can't afford to do free refills for their business. Is that what we're?
No, you can't go into the store, Chris.
You can't dine in.
Yeah, you can't go into the store.
I will say Tennessee has
in a different direction. That's interesting. Okay.
I will say Tennessee has we have reopened some stuff. There is stuff that's still closed, but even because I like to drive around and go to a park to do a run or whatever because I can't be in the house. I'm getting to a point where I'm like, I need to get out of the house, whether it's just driving around or whatnot. But even me driving around, there's a decent amount of people out. But when you see everyone who is out is keeping their distance for the most part and are wearing gloves, wearing masks. And so things are slowly opening up, which I think, everywhere is going to do that eventually. So I think that the fact that they're using masks and whatnot is helpful. But in addition to that, I was listening to the news yesterday and they were saying how Tennessee hasn't had any deaths or as many the amount of cases that have happened this last week have been a lot lower than in the past. So at least some progress is made. I'm trying to take that as a positive that at least progress is made, no new deaths, and whatnot.
Right.
But still,
I think people are gonna not cancel on plans as much after this. Like, I was thinking about that. Like, do you know how many times where it's like, oh, you almost went out, but then you like didn't really feel like it, so then you might not have gone. Like, I'm thinking about all those times. And I'm like, what?
I wish I could do that.
Guy.
I'm never gonna do that again.
Exactly.
Have you?
Which I think is nice.
Have you seen that
Did
meme
anyone
that's just like that meme that says like, oh, like I used to think that like just like instead of staying home inside for a month after this is all over, I'm not coming home for a month.
Yeah. No,
Did you guys know?
Logan and I are apparently one of the only couples that is not going to break up from this.
Oh my god.
We're like one of the
That's
only
good.
couples that's going to live through this without a major fight over like shampoo or
Well,
something.
that's good. I mean, I don't know. That's good. I mean, you're making it sound like that's like an unfortunate thing. Like people breaking up is not a good thing.
Yeah, no, I mean we've just made it into positives. Like we go for a walk every day with our dog. I've started
Right.
giving lacrosse lessons again because I have just single students at a time come down to the field, and I mean I stay a little away from them, and their parents they know me and I know their parents, so like I know they've been staying inside
Aw.
and stuff. But
That's very good.
yeah,
That's good.
and so I've been doing lacrosse lessons again, and Logan brings Charlie to the field, and Mary, I don't know if you saw it. I tried to send it to you, but it wouldn't go through. Did you see my Snapchat last night of Charlie
No,
running?
I didn't.
Okay, Charlie will chase the ball, and then he will run himself into the goal.
Oh,
He runs himself into the goal. It's the most adorable thing, and he like flings himself into the back of the net and bounces off of it.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
That's
Charlie
funny.
is my favorite dog.
A good boy.
He is.
Charlie
He's a
is
good
the-
boy.
I'm just gonna come and visit Charlie like next semester when I'm back in Raleigh, just randomly, just to
Hey,
see
you're
Charlie.
allowed to. I mean, I'm
I want to
gonna
see Charlie too.
be working, so maybe you can come let him out while I'm at work.
I'll come let him out. Yeah,
I'll pay you.
I will watch Charlie babysitter. Or
Yeah.
I'll watch him anytime you need me.
Well, that's what my mom was like. Hey guys, since John's gonna be working next year, you might want to think about the fact that all the dogs are getting adopted right now. I was like, Mom, don't even finish that sentence. I was like, I don't know who you are, but that's like you being recommended to get rid of me. I'm not doing that.
Charlie's such a sweet dog. I remember meeting him at Peace University, the school, and like I didn't even know he was there. He was under the table, and he got up for some reason. I was like, oh my god, that's the cutest dog I've ever seen.
Well, thank
and
you.
just petted her for 30 minutes while you guys talked. It was just like special.
Yeah, he's
Such a
a
sweet
real
guy.
good boy. He's
Yeah.
gentle and
Very
sweet,
sweet doggy.
and then he's able to be calm for a puppy. Honestly, like I used to bring him to class
Very
and stuff. I socialized him so much that he just is he's a well-rounded puppy.
Yeah, my dog's the other way
Well-rounded
around.
puppy.
She's independent and very hyper, so it's just an interesting relationship, but not the most desired one, I guess.
Yeah,
I have a German Shepherd,
I'm teaching him
or
French
really
right
a
now.
German Shepherd. Not.
I'm teaching Charlie French right now. He doesn't really get it, but it's all right.
We
One language at a time, buddy.
He's trying. He's
Sorry.
trying.
Oh,
At least he
yeah,
can
he's a
fetch.
sport.
True.
Charlie,
Does he know sit?
sport.
Oh yeah, he knows sit, he knows lie down, he knows wait. If I'm in the kitchen cooking, all I have to do is look at him and he knows to go down the hallway and stay in the living room because I don't like tripping over dogs, especially in a small
Yeah.
kitchen area. And so like I haven't trained. And my mom, she said, "You must hit him. He's so afraid of you." I was like, "Mom, I'm 6'6" and loud." I was like, "It's just the threat of being hit." It's like all I
Yeah.
have to do is look at him and clap my hands, and he's like, "Ooh, I do not want to hear that hit me." Okay, I'm gonna go in the other room. Like I've given him a couple small backhand whacks when he was like a puppy, just to let him know, like, hey, I can touch you, boy. but he learned very quickly that like I'm not gonna actually go after him. He just has to listen to me. And like I'm a good pet owner. I'm very gentle with him, and I just work hard to train him. But the only thing we need now is just a bark collar because when we leave, he gets very anxious, and that's obviously multiplied because we've been home for 6-7 weeks now. But
Yeah.
he's a good boy. He's a real good boy. He just gets anxious. That's all.
Does anyone here has dogs? Like,
I
you
do.
Rottweiler.
Okay. What kind of dog do you got?
I have a Rottweiler. Her name is Jazz.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, do you want to hear how stupid that she is sometimes?
Sure, I'd love to.
So, like 2 weeks ago, probably, she got like super sick, and we didn't know what was going on. Like,
Oh.
everything she ate, like she would throw up, and she would not stop throwing up. And so we took her to the vet, and she had chewed up one of her toys. It was like a little rubber.
And hold on one second. It sounds like you're being abducted
there's
by
a breakup.
aliens. Did you walk
like
does
somewhere
sound like
else?
that.
Oh gosh, can you hear me better now?
Yes, we can.
Very much so now, yeah.
There we go. Okay, so she chewed up like one of her rubber chew toys. It was like a pair of antlers that were like just rubber, and like a huge piece of rubber got stuck in her intestine, and so she had to have surgery to get it out.
Oh,
Ouch.
well, we're glad that she's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's all good. She's
All right.
just a little dummy sometimes.
Yeah.
But you know how Rottweilers are like really aggressive? Is your dog really aggressive, or like?
No,
Just wondering.
she's the sweetest puppy ever. Well, she's not even a puppy. She's
Wonderful.
Yeah, she's
Still,
an old
okay,
girl.
that
She's
sounds
big too.
wonderful.
She's like
Mhm.
really, really wide for a Rottweiler. She's not fat.
Everyone-
She's a
Like
big girl.
hip height, you know, like
Yeah,
3 feet.
everyone's
Yeah.
so afraid of her, but I guarantee you, she's way more afraid of you than whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, she barely even said hi to me. She just was so
Mhm.
chill.
She's just a little timid dog.
Oh.
All right,
cute. I
guys.
love
Well, this is a sad thing to say, but we're almost drawing to a close here.
Yeah.
I guess Alex, Caitlin, me, Andre, Chris, anyone else who's not returning next year, want to say a couple words? A couple words of thanks to the listeners.
Yeah. I might have to go at the end. Me and Caitlin might have to get because I don't know if I can get my thoughts yet.
That's fine. I mean, I'll go first if you want. I'll just say, I really appreciated being invited on because I made my own history podcast that never saw the light of day, and Alex and Caitlin were like, "Hey, this guy's doing something similar to what we're doing. Let's invite him on." And then I just went and joined their podcast because it was already on iTunes. And now I found something that I think I'm going to try and do forever because this is it's amazing. It's so much fun to come and sit in front of a microphone and put headphones on and just feel like you're talking to a large audience. It's such a good time. And it really, especially in this past semester, has been like the highlight of my week every week because it's just it's a time where I can forget about everything going on outside in the real world and just focus on my friends and having fun. And so I really just want to say thank you to the listener for putting up with my shenanigans and tomfoolery and ballyhoo. And thank you to Andre for wearing his green shirt. Thank you to Alex and Caitlin for inviting me on. Thanks to Chris, Ann, Destiny, Mary, anyone else who's come on an episode, Milan, all of you. Milian, I mean. Not Milan. That's in Italy.
Milan.
Milian, I mean. Hey, Big John, shouts to everybody. Everybody's getting a credit today. I feel like I won an Oscar or something. Seriously, though. Thank you all. I really do appreciate it.
I mean, that's a good feeling. Well, you're going to get one, like, very close. So, I feel you.
Yeah, I'll just say thank you for, Alex, I guess you're the one that went to the podcast, meeting at the college media conference where you decided to really put this thing together. And so thank you for doing that, and specifically to Marty and Chrisman for being with us and supporting us through this and giving us the tools that we needed. And for everybody that voted on our polls when we would do that back in the day, like, what do you call a popsicle, the dreamsicle or the orange sickle, whatever? What was it, dreamsicle or, yeah,
Creamsicle, I think.
Creamsicle, that's it.
And even like our name, like we got our podcast name because of polls.
The listeners. Yeah. And so I appreciate it so much. It was fun. It was like a bonding thing too, and a way to relieve stress after classes. And the dedication and the patience that Andre has, I appreciate it all.
Again, yeah, thanks to Andre. I mean, he's been coming in to, edit this for me because I'm capable of plugging in a board and pressing the record button, but I cannot do what follows, and that is edit all of our sounds to make us sound good. And so I really do appreciate Andre coming in.
Shout out to Andre.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks,
Andre.
Yeah. I'm really glad to make acquaintance with all of you guys. It's the first time I've been on a podcast, and you guys are very interesting and lovely people to talk to. It's very nice.
Thanks, Chris. You too, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to thank you guys for inspiring me to join the Peace Times. I think, Alex, you were the first one who brought it up. You were like, oh, check out the Peace Times. And I was like, I'm so not a good writer. And then I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I loved it. I even went back for another semester.
Good. I'm so glad that you joined.
Thank you for your contributions, Shannon. Your articles are solid. We appreciate all your work and your editing.
You said you don't really do writing, but you're a liar because your articles are solid
and your blog
is excellent.
Yes. Oh my God, thank you. My blog that I submitted at 11 o'clock on the dot last night. It was done. I just haven't submitted it. Well, you guys have done such a great job with the podcast. This is so fun. Yeah. Really enjoyed being a part of it the last couple weeks.
I'm really going to miss you guys.
I only did it twice. It's been really good.
Mm-hmm. And thanks to all the seniors and everyone who started it for being so welcoming to everyone wanting to join and just making it a safe atmosphere where we can all just talk about how we feel and things going on,
Yeah,
sure.
I know. We're excited to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have to.
And
yes,
please. We're really motivated. So
we won't let your legacy die.
Good.
We're passing off the torch.
Yes.
When we come back to record after we're graduated next semester, whenever that is, I'm expecting high things from y'all. I'm so excited.
Of course.
I still get to be microphone number 1. It's like being player 1. It's like my home turf, it's my console.
As long as I don't
mic
get the broken one. As long as I don't get the
They're all broken. They're all broken.
In your own respectful ways.
All right.
I guess I'll go now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, obviously, the podcast, I always say it, and I feel dumb saying it, but the podcast is kind of like my baby. So, first, thanks to Caitlin, who was willing to jump in and do the podcast with me, because it was kind of a random decision that we came up with. So, I really appreciate you being willing to jump in it with me, and I mean, a lot of crazy memories went with the podcast, and it was a lot of work, but we did it. And then obviously Marty and Kristen, who were very helpful in all of it, and were always encouraging. All of the other faculty and staff, and then thanks to all of you guys and everyone who was involved in the podcast, who really helped me and Caitlin kind of help us develop our dream of creating the podcast, because we never thought that it would be anything more than me and her sitting in Marty's office recording news. But at that point, that's all we knew how to do, and we were like, how is this going to develop? So thank you to everyone who was willing to reach out to us and who saw us recording and decided to join and continue it on, because honestly, it would have died years ago if you guys would have helped us out. So thank you to everyone who did that. It's sad, but we'll definitely come back and do the podcast again. I think that the podcast for me has definitely given me a place to develop my skills when it comes to editing and media and talking and hearing my voice, because I've always had an issue with that. And I can definitely say that I will definitely always podcast from now on, whether people listen to it or not. I think it's definitely something that I will always want to do from now on.
It's kind of therapeutic
in the long run.
It's kind of therapeutic. You just get to talk your thoughts out into a microphone, and it doesn't matter if anybody listens.
And the crazy part is at the beginning, that wasn't what we were using this for. We were using this as a way to share news. Which a lot of podcasts do, but I am really proud that we were able to develop it into something where people feel comfortable about talking about anything.
Yeah,
it's
been an awesome journey.
Thank you for the people that came on our podcast. I know we had like Dawn Dillon, we interviewed Stephanie Reed. We had a couple people in the WP faculty or just the campus in
Big
general
John.
that came on, and so that was really nice to have.
Yeah, and all the live podcasts that campus let us put on.
Yeah.
We didn't have many people come to the live podcast, but people who did, thank you for coming and letting us share.
Oh, and thank you to Public Safety and Marty and Professor Chrisman for letting me in and trusting me with this very expensive soundboard so that we could keep this thing going.
Yeah, I was confused how we were going to do the podcast, like, when the pandemic came in while we all had to leave school. So
well, we had no plan at first, and I was just like, well, I mean, Marty, do you trust me enough to let me control the Roadcaster? And she was like, I guess. Sure. So here we are, last day. But Andre, you got anything to say to the people at home?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank all the people that have been involved from the podcast from the day I came on back in the fall of 2018. So shout out to everybody, and appreciate everyone for welcoming me in and allowing me to make my imprint on something that I had no idea I was going to do when I got here. So appreciate everybody for that. And for all the episodes we did and we had to do from the lives and from, I can't remember when I hopped on, I guess from 8 to 57, 6, whatever episode we are on now. So, and the growth has been amazing. I never thought I'd be a part of something like this. So from doing my own and hopping on this has really been a great experience with great people. So appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right, guys. Anybody else got anything else they want to add? If not, I'm going to let Andre sign us off because I am terrible at it.
Go for it, Andre.
All right. Appreciate everybody for listening to this episode of Peace Talks. This is most of our last episodes officially on this podcast, so we appreciate everyone for listening. And if you would like to follow us, you can follow us on Instagram at the Peace Times.
The Peace Times.
Peace Times. Twitter, TBT Newspaper. Facebook, The Peace Times. And you can find us on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get podcasts. It's by looking up WPU Peace Talks. And now, everyone be safe, be healthy, and peace out.
Peace out, everyone.
Peace out.
Bye, guys. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.